I'm definitely struggling a bit today. I found it very difficult to speak to Mum yesterday and hear her issues, her difficulties. I find it difficult to hear her voice and hear the anxiety or distress that she can get herself into just because she hasn't had breakfast yet, or her world is now very small. She's got a nice room, she's got everything she needs, and there are technically supposed to be enough people around her to support her, but there aren't. And no one can go, no one can visit her, so she's isolated and alone. She can't really make calls, so she relies on other people calling. She doesn't always answer. No one can visit. She can't go out. I'm in a similar situation in many ways. Nobody visits me, nobody calls me. The only person I talk to is Nicola. But I can go out. I can go for a walk. I can go pick up a few bits. But I'm feeling a little bit isolated and cut off as well, because of the issue I have with just reaching out to Mum like Nicola does. She rings her every day, and if there's something that doesn't sound quite right, she tries to make contact with the manager, or she'll reach out to somebody else and talk. And I used to want to be completely cut off from it all. But without all that drama, without her here, without the feeling that she doesn't even live here anymore, and she probably will never live here. I'm sort of just hanging around. I'm just sort of waiting. And it may be some time before the waiting is over. And while we're waiting, I can continue to live here. I've already told my sister I don't need the car. She doesn't. The insurance, which is to be renewed on the 11th of April, isn't going to be. But maybe just the cheapest possible third-party insurance might make sense. But honestly, I only use it because it's a bit more convenient than walking, and sometimes I've already walked and I don't feel like walking. But if I don't have it, I will walk. I will go and pick up a bread or some bananas, couple of things that just fit in my little backpack, and if I have to do it more than once, it's okay. I see it as exercise. I do it with that intention, so that it's not an effort. It's not I've got to go out and get stuff. It's giving me fitness. It's giving me exercise, and it's good for me. But I prefer the slowness. I can walk at my own pace. I don't have to get caught. I mean, at the moment, there's traffic is so light because of everyone's at home, and it's nice to go out when it would otherwise be packed. The roads would be solid with rush hour people. They're empty. But winter is over. We're moving into spring, so it's much more pleasant, much more easy to make a journey without having to be wrapped up and fighting against what, compared to Minnesota, is nothing. But now that I've been here a while, I've got used to this climate again. It's challenging sometimes, especially with the wet. It's been so wet over winter. It's been hard to walk on my usual paths. So, I can watch a few things, but I'm not interested. It's not that I need company. I could do with talking, so that's why I'm making this recording. See what comes out. I haven't taken any tincture today. I felt like I ought to just give myself a break. I've been using it quite a lot daily. So certainly for the first few days, I mean, you need at least 3 days of not using it before, for me anyway, before I balance. But there's a noticing of a kind of, because I'm not being artificially stimulated, I'm not experiencing the perspective shift that comes. It's much harder to be isolated without it, but it feels like I want to experience what it's like. I will go out soon. I've been out for a long walk before. I went round the lake, and nice to finally be able to walk all the way round as it was dry enough so that you're not stomping in mud. Few people, everyone giving everyone wide berth. I don't. I just walk. And if they want to give me a wide berth or wait until I pass, that's their business. I don't do that. I'm okay with somebody walking right past me, not a problem. I just appreciate the quiet. I mean, we don't even get post, so I think that so much has been stopped. The only thing that's still possible is food purchase. But I kind of miss something. I mean, I suppose even with Mum and all the drama that's surrounding her, were I to, and I suppose I will I tried to speak to my sister. I sent her a message, but she's either in her garden gardening or out or something. I'll speak to her later. And no news is good news. She hasn't said anything to me, so it must be, relatively speaking, okay with Mum. And it feels like I can feel this sort of small sadness in me, or an unspecified anxiety, just a small one, because I have nothing to do. I have no purpose now. The only purpose, in a sense, is either to figure out what I should do next. And at this time, with everything shut and so on, it's really difficult to do anything other than just be inside or walk. Or wait. I have to just hang around here to wait to help Nicola deal with the aftermath, and obviously go through what takes place after Mum does go, and the funerals and so on, and then getting rid of stuff and selling property. It's all going to take a while, and so with me not having any real idea of what I'm going to do, or whether or not I even have any additional monies to do anything with, I'm not waiting for and hoping for and wondering. There's money, and there should be some equity in this property when it's sold and the mortgage is paid off and all the duties and taxes are paid off. It may even be possible for me to look at the idea of getting another van, something more suitable for me, and make my way back to Cornwall and have that as my home and go from there. But I don't know. I don't feel drawn to anything. I feel a little bit weird. I feel a little bit numb. I can't quite believe that I just live here now, for now. I can't connect with Mum. I think if there was no coronavirus and I could just go visit freely, as could anyone, then at least she would have company. But it would be very easy for me to take a walk into town and pop in and see her, bring her, a TV guide or something to help her choose her programs. But she doesn't need that really, because she's not recording anything anymore. She's just watching whatever's on at the time that she's watching. And I suspect the television is on all the time, 24/7. I know she's not content. I know that the level of care is not as it should be, and it's not their fault. But she's also isolated, and she gets stir crazy, and with nobody visiting and only the phone her lifeline, and not always able to answer it, and not able to make calls or text easily, she must be feeling very cut off and very alone. She's not even really capable of walking, and even if she is with the Zimmer frame, she can't go out of her room. She's got to be isolated because she has the virus. And even though she has no symptoms, they still have to contain her as if she has some symptoms. She probably won't survive if she gets symptoms, but maybe it would be for the best. But her liver function is definitely deteriorating because she's had what was keeping that at bay before was chemo. And she's had 2 rounds of chemo and just finished the round of radiotherapy for her spine. She's not strong enough to do another round of chemo. So the liver, the cancer, is spreading uncontrolled. It's all just, there's no quality of life. She just eats and toilets and needs help with that, and washes and needs help with that, and then watches television. She has books, she has a Kindle, but I don't know if she's using it. It's just television. It must be very difficult for her, and it makes me feel a bit sad because I can't do anything. I struggle to be around her. I struggle to be around her even if my sister is there, but at least if my sister is there, I'm sort of much more peripheral. If it's just me, then I have to hear and deal with and feel what it is that she's saying, and I find it very difficult. So I wouldn't stay long. I actually find being in that place very difficult. It's a palliative care home, people with cancer, very old people, very sick people, and also disabled people. It's not just old people, it's people who need looking after. People who live there and have lived there for a while. As I look in some of the rooms as I walk past, and they have their doors open so that they can feel part of the whole. They see people walking past, and perhaps they have conversations and visits from other people in other rooms. Mum can't. She can't meet them. They can't see her. She can't go out and sit in the communal areas and get to know anybody. It can't be any harder. It couldn't be any harder for her. And yet she continues. She's not close to dying. I mean, who knows when that event will occur, but while it did seem like she had deteriorated during her stay in hospital, and some of that could have been just because she didn't really do anything physically. She just stayed in bed and was looked after. She's not getting the level of care that she was used to in the private care situation that she was getting in the hospital. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any insurance that allows for that, and the cost of private care would be impossible really quickly. But so she has somewhere to be, and it's a nice room, but these are trying times. And I feel like I have no more purpose, that my only reason for being here was to be a part of making it easier for Mum, and I've done that, and I've done my best at that. And there's almost nothing left for me to do but wait until it's over and then be a part of what that's like. You know, will I even get to be around her when in her last moments? I don't know. And there is definitely a thought, there have been thoughts, well then just go. You know, you'll still probably get some part of any financial whatever at the end, but I don't have to be here. I could be somewhere else. I could drive to Cornwall. I could take the car. It's not needed anymore, so I could use that to get there. But where would I go? I couldn't even stay in a bed and breakfast because I suspect they're all shut. I have nowhere to be, and I can't stay in the car. It's too small. There's no way for me to be able to do that. So it says to me, there's nowhere for me to go. I just have to stay here and deal with this. And I'm very comfortable. I don't lack for anything. I have expense money. I can buy anything I want. I'm expecting to be able to soon replace my laptop with a brand new one. I could order it even right now, even though they're not available until the middle of next month. But there's no rush, and it would be very nice to have a brand new thing that worked properly in all areas. I'm so used to just making do with something that doesn't work properly, but I can make it work. I can sort of work around the failings of it, and it still does as much as I can make it do in the way it used to do it. But it's very old now, and I've looked after it very well, and it's served me very well, and it would be wonderful to get to 2020 technology and future-proof it for the next 6, 8, 10 years or something like that. And I can use Mum's money for that. I can watch a film. I've got a big TV. I've got a reclining chair. I've got plenty of food in the fridge. I'm going to go out later and pick up a few things. I have many choices, most of which were all the choices I ever wanted to have. But this isn't real. I can't sustain this. I can't take over this place and start to live here as if I live here and pay the bills and so on. I mean, there's money, and it could probably happen for a while, but it doesn't feel right. And maybe it will. My feeling is that as soon as Mum's not around, we'll just sell everything, just liquidate everything. I want money from it as much as there's available. Divide it up between us, and maybe then I'll have an idea of what to do, where to go. I could make a pilgrimage journey to South America and go on retreat to a shamanic ayahuasca place. I could go back to Israel. I mean, there's possibilities, but none of them seem like the right thing at this time. And maybe when this is no more, or when that point comes when it's about to be sold, it's sold, and it's time for me to leave, I'll have to make a decision. But if I've got money in my account, I can probably travel. I could probably visit, not America, but I don't know. I just don't know. I seem to have no future. There's nothing out there that seems to be very clearly what it is I must do next. What should I do next? That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm excited about this. I know what it is I'm going to do. I have none of that. So I can do nothing but just be. Just be here. Deal with the time. I can handle the time, and if I choose to take tincture, I can deal with it much more easily. But I've been having it. It's been hard for me to find peace, even though I've been talking about stuff, it's been hard for me to find peace. It feels like there's something I'm not doing that I should be doing, that I can't do, that I'm not choosing to do, that I could choose to do. I'm not open. I could drive down to Cornwall, CK, and then what? You see, and I can't go any further than that. And even though that's where Emily lives and that's where my granddaughters are, it's unlikely I'll ever see her or them. And even the festival that takes place every year in late June is been cancelled this year. And I might have, by chance, seen her there. So for me to just turn up there, I'm basically just still alone. So the only thing that makes sense is to, if I'm going to turn up there again, is to turn up there in a vehicle where I can sleep in it, just like I did before. And I can't do that until this is all finished. And I know how much I have available to find something, because these things aren't cheap. Especially, I don't want anything, just a little bit bigger, just something that I can stand up in, that perhaps I can stand up in even when the bed is out. Something that's designed, that's better suited to all year round living. Put solar panel on it again and try to make that, live that way permanently now. I mean, I tried my best to live, once I'd got used to it, in my old van, and I was very comfortable, and I had that safety feeling and security feeling, and I owned it free and clear. And I had money to support myself in it without having to work for some time. And if there's more money coming as a result of the liquidation of this, that would make some sense. I don't think that I'm to be a writer, even though I do write. And I have thought that I could explore, should explore, will explore the idea of stand-up and talk about stuff. Have a go at doing this in front of people. But I'd have to be much more energetic, I think, and I probably would be. And especially if I use the tincture to expand and open to stuff. Who knows what could come out? But even that, I don't really have a real feeling of it. I'm not looking to start a business. I'm not trying to be a new agey somebody. Selling the tincture, making tincture and selling it would definitely produce an income, but of course it has risks attached. Or I could seek solitude, more like a community where I'm able to park my van and be amongst them, and because it's off road and I don't really need to drive it, I wouldn't have to pay insurance or tax or anything. I could just live in it, and that in a sense would be ideal. But at the same time, I don't know if that's my future. I don't know what. I am in a sense lost. There is a possibility of meeting and speaking to a rabbi and seeing what options, help I might get. I mean, if I was interested in Israel and returning there and making life there, then he would definitely be able to help me or point me in the right direction. It's a slow process. I'd have to go out there, but I would like to go and live on a kibbutz and work as part of a community where money is no longer a thing. I don't have to earn it or spend it, but I'd still have it because I might, and would still rely on my sister to allow me access to it. Well, I suppose I would have to set up a bank account locally, but all of these things, as I talk, that's why I'm talking, so that ideas pop up and I speak them out, and maybe they make sense, or maybe they don't, or maybe they're just small seeds that might grow into something more realistic. But I think all I can do is be here in this moment and make the most of it. And it's really funny that now that it looks like, until Mum goes, I'm just here. This is where I live. That's where she lives. It's very difficult for her. I'm sure it's difficult for her. I hope it gets easier. I don't want her to suffer and struggle any more than she just does. Whereas here, for me, it's very easy. It's very simple. I have everything I could possibly want. I don't have to pay a single bill. I don't even see a bill that I have to pay with her money. Things just get taken out of her account. And she has a lot of money in her account. She's got plenty. And while she doesn't own this building outright, the difference between the mortgage and the value should produce quite a big equity. And once it's split up between myself and my sister, or maybe even my nephew, there'll still be plenty for me to move into the world with. But I don't know what to do with it. I have no idea. And so there's this strange sadness, like I've said before. I don't have to know, because this is not the time to be doing anything. We're not packing everything up. It's not finished. And now I have to move into the future. That I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go anywhere. I could, but it's to drive 6 hours and spend all the money on fuel, which would come out of Mum's account, or Mum's money. It would cost, and then be there for a few days, 3 days, or a couple of days, and maybe I could probably deal with a day or two in the car, but I wouldn't get much sleep, and I would want to come back so I could actually have a bed. Alright, if there was a bed and breakfast, if there were people still operating that there, and I could spend a night or two there, it would be okay. But I can't assume that would be the case at all. The library wouldn't be open, so I'd have no access to the internet. Pubs, well, I would have access in the pubs, but they might not be open. But I don't know. I suppose it probably would be, but maybe it wouldn't be. I mean, it's rural, and it just doesn't feel right. Perhaps if the coronavirus wasn't around, it would be very difficult not to try, because I could. The library would be there, the pub would be there, a bed and breakfast would be findable very easily. I'd get to see my friend, and just be there for a while. And then either come back, or carry on being there. And let go of all of this and not have to think about this. And yet, I couldn't, because, Mum's just around the corner, and I am the only one who can deal with it. No one else can go in. Nicola's in Norfolk, and I know how to go in. I know what to do. I can sneak in. I can get inside, and I know where to go, and I could do it. And I tried to do it the other day when I took the Zimmer frame, but coincidentally or otherwise, as I was approaching her door, so the nurse and the auxiliary support nurse were just about to go in and help her and wash her and so on. They were just masking up and everything, and they said to me, please don't go in. We don't want you to go in. We have to create the isolation. And I understood. So it was almost like life saying, no, just let go. Leave her to them, and everything will be all right in the end. But I feel like a part of me is missing her. And she's not who she was anymore. She doesn't speak the way she used to speak. She doesn't think the way she used to think. She's not lost her marbles entirely. She's still very much, there's still her there, but it's not the person I know. And our relationship, my relationship with mum, is different to everybody else's. No one knows mum like me. No one interacts with her like I do. And if she was settled and content and looked after and at peace, I would be very happy to go and sit with her for a bit, bring her up a salmon beigel for her to have or something, and just make sure that she knows that she's not alone. And maybe, I'm sure I've said this anyway, in the last weeks and months or whatever it is, however long she has left, find a way to have some kind of relationship, so that when I leave, when I say I'm going back, I'm going home, and say goodbye and give her a kiss or whatever it is, that I'm actually not just pleased to let go to walk out, and I don't feel like I'm going to come back tomorrow or the next day or the next day, that I need more time away from her. And that's how it's always been with me. Every time I have just a little feeling of, okay, let me try this, let me connect with her, let me sit with her, let me talk with her, let me reach out to her, let me step up, something happens that pushes me away, that makes me feel like I can't do it, I don't know how to do it, I just can't do it. And yet I can't just walk away, as I have nowhere else to go. Actually, part of me feels like, I suppose even if there's money, I'm just going to walk. I'm not going to be homeless. I've been homeless for a long time. Technically I live here, so I'm not homeless, but I don't feel like this is my home. And even when I was in the van, which was my van, technically I was considered homeless, even though I didn't think of myself that way. I had a home, I just didn't have anywhere to permanently put it. I could put it in the street, and did for most of the time. And as long as I pay the tax and insurance and don't make people feel uncomfortable at the stranger who lives in the van, so I don't make it obvious. I keep my head down, I keep the things closed, I come and go quietly. It's not loads of lights on and lots of noise. And I parked in a place that isn't very that at the end of the working day, there's not many people around. It's not many people live there. It's just by a park. It worked perfectly, but there was only one particular space that I wanted to be in. And of course, if I moved the vehicle to do something, even to go and replace the gas cylinder or have to have the MOT done, when I came back, there was no guarantee that I would be able to put it there straight away. I usually got it in quite quickly. Certainly by the end of the day, I usually got it in, and if I didn't that day, I got it in the next day. But I would experience an anxiety feeling until I could put it exactly where I knew once I put it there, I didn't have to move it, and it would be fine. If I have a slightly bigger van, it may be that it's too big to put it there. I can't have anything too big. What I had was really small, so I would need something just a little bit bigger. But it may be that it becomes even more difficult as to where will you park this thing. I never used a site. I never plugged into electricity or water or had showers and paid however much it is. I never tried it. I'm sure it's okay, but I can't do that on a daily basis with no actual income, unless I have, tens of thousands of pounds in the bank. Well, I could make that last a long time. I can do a few days, 3 or 4 days, while camping here and there, and then I can do a few days in some camp place, and the camp places don't always open in the winter. They're only in spring, summer, autumn. So winter still requires me to be wild camping. But as long as I've got a good heater and I'm warm in there and I've got water, and a bigger van may even have heated water or even a shower, even a little sort of toilet thing, although I don't like the idea of chemical toilets and I never used a toilet in my little van. There's more possibility with something that's a better quality room. And I can't see myself anywhere else but that. I can't see myself in any bed sit or small flat. I can't see myself doing anything that requires me to ask for state support. I don't want benefits. I don't want anything other than what I'm naturally entitled to, which is free meds, free medication. Because of my chronic diabetes, I can get free medication in any area, and free dental and glasses, eye test, that I can continue to get as long as I have somewhere I can receive mail, and I can make that work. I could even go up to Norfolk and sort of be around Nicola, or I could go up to Scotland, and where it's much more free to wild camp and try it up there and see what it's like if I've got the right equipment and I've got plenty of money to back me up. So that's possible. That is a little more exciting than I've got no idea what I can do. And that the van has value, and it holds its value. Those vans do. So it's an asset that can always be sold in the future. I have an asset. But to commit to that would be that's it. I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. You know, when I got rid of it and I was on my way to Chicago, allegedly to be with the woman who was going to be my wife, and after 9 days was kicked out, and all of what took place that I've probably talked about at some point here and there or written about. And I was just basically coping with being in a place that I didn't really fit into, in a place that I was never legal and I was never supposed to be there, although there were no ramifications for doing so, and around all the people that I met and stayed with and who accepted me and even married one. None of it worked. Nothing worked, and I have no connection, no contact with any of those people. I'm just alone, as I always seem to be, and it feels like it's the only thing that makes sense. I can do it. I can but just about deal with myself, not always, but just about. I can't deal with anybody else. I can only barely deal with being thoughtful and being considerate and about other people for a short time before it becomes an issue, because I'm not getting it right and neither are they. I don't love anybody. I don't have anybody to love. I don't feel connected to anybody. I mean, I care about my sister, of course I do. I love my sister. I look after my sister. I'm all there for her. If she need whatever she needs from me, I do my best to make it to help her and give her things, and she's been there for me. But I don't have anyone to love. I don't feel love from anyone directly. I know Mum loves me and she's looked after me and given me, but I don't feel it. And maybe that feeling that I think I'm not feeling is an attachment feeling, and I can't have it. I just can't have it. I get codependent so quickly. I rely on people so quickly, and I've been looked after by people for so long, especially in America, where I had to rely on the kindness of people for me to have somewhere to lay my head. And I was able to do that for several years. And while here, technically, I can be supported by the system, I can receive benefits, I can, have help to have a flat. I don't want it, because to have that means I have to work in the world in a normal way. Minimum wage, 0 hour, I can't do that. I have to be self-employed. I have to have a business. Well, what would I do? I can't make money from writing. The only thing I might be able to do is make money from talking, but that's quite an intentional thing, and one has to be very into it, and it takes a long time to get established and create a career. And I really don't know that I want to do that. I'm okay with making these things, and yet I don't upload them, and I'm not making it possible for anyone to listen to them or watch them. So I think I'm just lost. I just am lost. So it's probably quite a different recording to any of the others, but then this is a recording recorded in a sobriety. I'm not inspired or compelled to speak. I'm not expanded and exploring and open to ideas. I'm not seeing things in a bigger picture way. I'm just me, just this, just here, as I am.